All right, we are back for another episode of High and Tight. I guess our fourth, 25, 26, yeah, fourth and final one for ranking season. Um, Joining me as always is our assistant scouting director, Jordan Jones. I am Jason Burton, and welcome to another episode of High and Tight.
Okay, let's do this thing.
All right, look, we got a ton to get into here, and so we're not going to do a ton of niceties here. But are you ready for the Christmas holiday season?
Yeah, my pockets are ready for it to be over. Um, all
And
Christmas gift giving, all that good old stuff. Yeah, excited for another Christmas.
go ahead and get you some kids. Let me know. Go ahead and get you some kids and let me know. I'll tell you a fun little story real quick, and then we'll get into it. The mail lady pulls in today, and I'm actually walking out to the car to leave, and she gets out and she's got a package. And I said, "Look, ma'am, like you're a super nice lady. I always enjoy seeing your smiling face, but I will be happy when I don't have to see you again for a while." And she laughed and she was telling me about like how busy they are, and this is the postal service, so that's another story for another day. I'm just happy they didn't lose my package, so shout out to them. But I mean, hey, it's no UPS, right?
Right.
I mean, Mr. Papa Jones over there just crushing it at UPS.
Oh yeah.
A company man. But no, she laughed and it was kind of funny. She asked me like if I was from Dinwiddie or originally, and if I coached and this, that, and the other. And funny story, she graduated with my sister, so we talked for a minute. And but yeah, so I don't think she was mad at me when she left, but I just told her I was done with seeing packages that my wife continues to purchase. We are done with that in a week. We are shutting that. We're shutting that down, turning the faucet off, because we're about out of water over here. So anyway, all right. Look, we're going to do a couple of things here. The first thing that we're going to do something that we haven't done before, and we're going to steal it from the Maryland crew, the boss man and Mr. Jamie Nail himself. But it was volunteered by the boss man. I think it was a great idea. It did add about 30, 40 minutes of work that I wasn't aware that I needed for the day, to compile some videos and stuff. But it was a really good idea. We're going to go and we're going to look at a then and now piece, a couple of them from the 2025 class. And what we're trying to do here is, as we introduce this 2028 class, similar to the 25 class, it's starting off small. It's going to continue to grow. One reason we don't start off very, at a large scale, ranking 100 players, is because, like, to be quite honest with you, we don't feel super comfortable with having seen, like, hey, we've seen 100 2028s that we think are surefire guys that are going to play in college at some capacity or have some sort of projection or value, or, that we feel super comfortable with right now, right? Have we seen 100 2028s? Yes. Right? I think we have 500 and some profiles, but sometimes it's a really limited look. And sometimes it's a tough day on top of that limited look. So it's tough to go all in on, watching a 14-year-old throw for 3 innings, and kind of be, over the moon about it. So we start off small with what we feel is comfortable, and then we continue to grow. Jordan, what else would you say here as to how kind of a class develops?
I mean, especially with this younger classes, the younger they are, it's a lot of based on projection. First off, when you see walk up to the field and you see like a 6 foot, 6 foot 2, 3 young guy, I'm like, okay, there's some projection here. That really catches the initial eye. Say, hey, maybe this guy has a chance to be a pretty good ball player. And then just following up with just the basic fundamentals, how clean they play, how fast they play, how serious they take, like just playing catch, taking in and out. Those are some quick identifiers, especially at a younger age, when you try to first initially start to take on a class like this.
And I think it's important to understand, like, yes, it for the 28 class, kind of stealing a few things from Jordan. Yes, it is like a higher percentage of projection and what we see future over present ability. We're going to talk about a few guys who, maybe are a little bit more projection over present. Um, like, why is that important? Because they have 3 years to develop, right? They have 3 years to physically mature. They have 3 years, maybe, to do things like cleaning up swing decisions and getting a stronger arm so it plays from the left side of the infield, or getting 3 or 4 tenths of a second faster, so we know that they can stay up the middle of the field. So it is about projection, more so than present ability. But you're also going to have some of those guys that maybe, hey, this guy isn't tooled up, but there is some projection left in there, and it's a higher floor guy who just performs in games. So it's a mixture of both. But it is weighted a little bit more on the tools, the present tools, and the projection and potential for them to continue to get better, as well as the projection for the frame and the positional value that we think that they could play long term. Um, I go into it probably a little bit more in our initial look story that came out. What is today? We're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. But we had an initial look story that came out on Tuesday where we went into it a little bit more, into kind of how that class is made up, how that class develops. Our next update to this class will more than likely be the end of spring. That will wait into some winter stuff that we have seen with like our freshman free showcase and preseason all states and IDs. It'll wait some of that in there as well. And mainly, most of those changes that happen at that late spring update are going to be from those events and a little bit of high school. And we talked about this before, just because we don't see a ton of freshmen during the high school season. It's tough to say, hey, I'm gonna go to a JV game or whatever over a varsity game, just because the pickings are going to be a little bit slimmer on that level in terms of quality competition. I can say that I coached at that level before. We've all kind of been at that level at some point in our life, whether it be playing or coaching or watching. So I think everybody understands that. But this class will continue to evolve. We'll continue to add to it. What are we at? 125 for the 27 class right now. So by this time next year, we will have expanded by 100 players, or by 95 players, since we're doing top 30, just because of the fact that we have seen, or that we will have seen, more players. And we feel a little bit more comfortable with our evaluations and the number of times that we've been able to evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
Little light flip there. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So look, we're going to go into it. And like I said, we're going to play a little fun game called Then and Now. I'm going to flash a video up there of a player when they were younger. All of these players are 2025 class. All of these players, and I don't want to misspeak, all of these players are Division I commits, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them being P4 commits. All of them are Division I commits. All of these videos are from the year 2020 or 2021. I think the majority of them are from the year 2021, but we do have a few 2020 slipped in there. You will notice some masks in there because that was around the time of COVID and we couldn't get into facilities and stuff like that unless you wore a mask and all that craziness. But it is definitely a flashback to kind of a different time for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the video up there. We'll show the then video first. I'm going to stop it, and Jordan is going to have to guess. I think he may know like a few names of people who are in this, but he has not seen the video. So Jordan's going to have to guess it to who this individual is. And then I'll let the video run kind of full frame, and we'll just dive in maybe 15, 20 seconds about the player and their development. Jordan, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
All right.
You want me to just go ahead? That was pretty easy.
I figured that one would be.
That's Clayton Arma.
All right. Clayton Arma, Auburn commit, 2025 right-hander from St. John's College High School. There he is, Junior Future Games, as a rising ninth grader, I guess at the time, and there he is last spring. So again, we're looking at Clayton then, and then we will get to Clayton now. This is last spring when I got a chance to see him at St. John's. Biggest thing for me, I had an opportunity to see Clayton at JFG when he was, that first video. And obviously the biggest thing was like essentially the same projection that happened in 2021 is kind of sort of still there now. It's just super long limbs, lanky, still has some room to fill out, even though I think he's a guy that will kind of stay that shape and that leanness throughout. He gets into a college strength and conditioning program. I think the sky's the limit. The velo continues to jump up. The pitchability, honestly, has been there for a bit. And their starter projection there. And you can just see the difference in the intent. You can see the difference in the movements. And he was just one that was kind of easy to dream on. This was like honestly, like a pure projection guy, just because of the frame and how everything, operated. Jordan, anything to add on there? I know you didn't get a chance to see him when he was younger, but anything to add on?
Yeah, just looking at the video from then and to now, like there's still some similar movement patterns, but it has cleaned up a little bit. But like those are those things that we identify early, just how they move. And that was one of the easy things. I didn't see him early on, but I could see from when I started the movement patterns from when I saw him to now. They got stronger, cleaned up, and I think that's definitely part of the projection and how stuff has gotten better for him over time.
All right, now this one's going to be tougher. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. That one is a little bit tougher.
And I'm kind of throwing a little curveball at you here.
Yeah.
But we got – I'm going to let it run this time, so you got about 4 seconds to guess it. JFG.
Oh, wow. That got me.
And I threw a little curveball at Jordan.
Yeah.
When you think Ren, you think arm.
Yeah.
But don't be throwing any shade at Ren. He's run a couple out. Kind of in a PO role the past year or so, and I know when he does run them out, whether it's travel or he gets a pinch hit or whatever during high school, and he barrels one up, and he runs one out of the yard. He catches it from all angles when he comes around. the bases, because everybody kind of knows long term that obviously he's a PO, but there's some juice in the bat. There's definitely more intent these days and more bat speed in the swing than there. And this is one like, hey, like he was smaller. It wasn't like some super long limbed, lean frame. But if you look at the physical maturation, this is a guy that has climbed significantly in rankings because he has continued to physically develop, and he has honed in on his skill and his craft on the mound. I mean, he's up in the low 90s. He can throw 2 breaking balls for out pitches. It has been a significant climb for him. And it's a huge credit to him, as well as I know we talked about Clayton, both of them, Sean McCabe. I mean, the list goes on and on for that staff at their ability to develop players. Jordan, anything? Again, I know you didn't see Wren early on. I think that was a year before your first year.
Mhm.
And anything to add there?
Yeah. First of all, that I knew that swing looked a little familiar, but that shortstop really threw me
Get out
off.
of here.
It really threw me off. But yeah, just as like you see the rankings continue to grow, get bigger. You see guys like this continue to develop and get bigger, and you see that jump that he made in the rankings. So like early on, you might not be that physical mature guy that you see early on, but you may become that guy later. So that's definitely something like as these younger guys start getting into this process, just to keep that in mind as well. Just everyone grows and matures at their own pace.
So I'm just trying to find it right now. I'm trying to find where Wren is currently. There he is. So Wren is a guy in 2021. Um, December of 2021, the class started out. He started at 16, and fell to right outside the top 100 in towards May of 23. And then he has continued to make. He jumped like 60 spots, and he jumped 3, and then he jumped 4, and then he jumped 4, or he jumped 14, and then he jumped another 1 back up to 25. In that time frame, like the class was smaller, so we hadn't identified a bunch of guys. So he started out in the 16 spot. He kind of plateaued a little bit, and then started to fall back some, and then he just took a tremendous jump, and more so than anything, he showed ability, I think, to land 3 pitches and to be able to pitch with 3 pitches. And the velo has continued to rise with some of that secondary stuff. So I think that's a big reason for his jumps along the way. All right, let's see if you get this one now. I think this was a year. Oh no, this was definitely before your time. I think this was 2021. Let's see what you got here.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be a giveaway. What do you got?
that's Mr. JT Brown.
All right, what gave it away?
The swing. I know that swing from
I
anywhere.
thought you were gonna go with the hat. I thought you were gonna go with the hat.
No, I know. There's still some swing similarities there. I know that swing.
Biggest thing, like when we saw JT early on at this event, this was a winter event. You see there, I want you to recognize and notice, everybody who's watching, if there's anybody watching, recognize and notice the difference in the body. Recognize his physical transformation that he kind of bought into. That was probably a drawback for us early on. It was a question of it was a softer body, and you didn't know which direction it was going to go. The swing absolutely played, but we knew that if the body continued, or if it went any further in the wrong direction, this is a guy that would be stuck over at first base as a right-handed hitter who could potentially produce some power, and impact the baseball. But there's just not a ton when we're talking about high level value, higher value and positional players, especially we're talking about a first baseman who's a right-handed hitter. You're really going to have to bang it. Well, the body leaned up, The actions continue to clean up on the left side of the infield. I still think it's more third base than shortstop, but it's a better runner. It's a better body. And I'm going to tell you what, the kid flat out hits. He flat out hits. He hit at that event when he was younger that we just talked about, that first event you saw. Like, it was just smooth, easy, effortless, and it was just impact. It was just barrel one after the other. And you're like, hey, this dude's going to have a chance to hit, but what is going to happen physically? And that's, again, credit to him. He continued to kind of keep his head down and grind, and, pave that way for himself. I know it was a tougher journey for him, but I think everything happens for a reason. And, I was talking to the boss man earlier, and he was like, hey, like, this has a chance to be, he was like, I think this has a chance to be one of those, like, just absolute helium guys. Jordan?
Yeah. From when I first saw him, the hit tool was evident, and just the body and just the work that he put in all around his games continued to show. And that's one of the good things to see from then to now. Right now, I'm going to his senior year.
And backtracking a little bit, we talked about Clayton was an Auburn commit. Wren, also a JFG guy, which you saw a video on, junior Future Games guy. And Wren was also a Future Games guy. He is a Penn State commit, and JT is a Longwood commit who was at our first and kind of inaugural year of senior Future Games this year. As I know, Longwood saw him plenty of stuff in state and everything, but I would be hard pressed to believe that his performance down in Georgia did not kind of seal the deal for Longwood kind of being all in. I don't want to put words in Coach Noe's mouth and that staff, but he absolutely balled out that week versus some quality arms. And I think that kind of sealed things up for him. All right, moving on. Our next one, you're going to say who it was. You're not going to get this one either. Yeah, you might, but I'm gonna let it fly. You ready?
All right, here you go. I know. Yeah, that's Goshio.
Very good, Jordan Jones. We got some masks on there. Shout out to COVID. And here's Goach now.
Yeah, that lower half still sinks the same way. I gave it away.
Biggest thing, and I know it's kind of all together, so it's you look at the arm strength and the operation there. Obviously his ability to turn the barrel and hit, but look at the arm strength here. It's just dying. The arm really gets behind, the body kind of gets out. It was just not strong enough and quick enough for it to catch up when he was younger. His ability to drive middle and backside is one of the best in the state. And again, you look at the operation here, the arm's shorter, it's quicker, it's a quicker release. And this is not something that's necessarily uncommon, right? You're going to see guys that the arm speed's going to get a little bit quicker. They're going to get a little stronger there on the backside to help them kind of turn the corner some. The bat speed's going to improve. He's always shown some kind of feel for hitting. Just the impact wasn't really there. In every single year, I mean, I would even say maybe 18 months ago, some of the impact that's there now is it's significantly different. Ryan's a JMU commit that showed out really, really well at the pro case this summer. But again, another guy, I mean, he waited till the end of the summer before he entered the rankings in 2022, hovered in between 70 and 107, and then climbed up to the 50 to 60 range, and then made a good jump to 41 and is now up to 37. Thanks, ESPN. Appreciate you. So, like, just has made some significant, advancements and jumps in his game, and I think more so in the physical maturation than anything. I would say it's a similar body. He's just gotten bigger. I would say, like you said, some of the operations with the swing are similar. He's just gotten stronger in ability to turn the barrel and impact the baseball. Um, Anything to add there, or are we good?
We're good.
All right, let's see what we got here. I think some of where these people are doing this like gives it away and uniforms and everything. But we're gonna see what you got. It's not fair.
And
I'm only, I'm only
something else
giving
that
you
gives it
this.
away. That
I'm only
number
giving you.
gives it away too. That's
Huh?
Caden Merritt. That's Caden Merritt. That number gave it away too.
And for the record, Jordan was not at these events.
No, was not.
So kudos to him, which I would expect nothing less. That's why he's the best. Um, so Caden Merritt, just really the biggest thing. Like early on, we heard like, "Hey, this kid is going to be this, that, and the other." Very high aspirations, and he has met those. But I do think he was a guy who kind of was good early, plateaued a little bit there, on the front half, or maybe even you could say kind of in the middle, and then just like shot up. Why do I think he shot up? I think it was more of a focus on the athleticism and explosiveness for what he does on the field. There's just more intent, and it's not out of control, right? Like that's just how he plays. He plays hard. He plays fast. He's a physical kid. He's a physical outfielder. He was a future games guy. Um, Made some dynamic plays in center field. It's not necessarily overpowering stuff on the mound. He just competes his tail off. He gets in the box, does the same thing. He's just an energy guy, and I think that allows him to kind of play up sometimes. Um, but I would say for me, that's probably the biggest change is just the intent in what he does and the explosiveness and how he does it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think he's always been a tools guy. Like can run, just the frame. He's like, okay, if he continues to get stronger, like it's gonna be more impact. But the tools were evident to begin with, and he just continued to hone in on his craft and get better, and that's definitely made him take off.
All right. And for record, Caden is a Coastal Carolina commit. Um, Now we got four left. I want to move through these, not trying to rush them through, but I do want to move through these a little bit because we still got the 28s to talk about. Um, let's see what we got here. You're not going to get this one. I'm just letting you know now. You're not going to get it.
That's Bryce Neely.
I hate you.
That's Bryce Neely. Come on now.
It's great
Oh,
BP there, by the way, just in case
I
you're
wonder who
wondering.
that guy is.
That was really good BP. Great beeps. That was back in the day when you just had to like grin and bear it out there at future games. We didn't have hack attacks like we were the hack attacks. Um, some old hacks out there throwing. But, uh, you know, I would say like, I would say he's kind of taken the opposite approach, if you will. Like early on, he was a guy who played. That was junior future games. Like he was a guy who played, and you had some kind of in-game ability, and was just like a solid player. And the tools have just taken off, right? Like you talk about, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but somebody who just had super loud tools as a young player still has them now in the game. The ability to play in game maybe caught up and stuff like that. Whereas I think Bryce was a quiet tools, not a huge projection guy, and he just got stronger and more athletic as he matured. Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. His tools are definitely loud now. But way well above average runner. Has some power that can really impact the game and change the game quickly. So just the fact that those tools have definitely continued to get better and they play in game definitely makes a bigger outcome for him, especially tools wise, as the projection has gotten closed down a little bit more.
UVA commit, 2025 out of St. Chris, and that is Bryce Neely. All right, next one. I think you'll get this one. I think this one's easy, but we'll see.
Mr.
Now,
Knight.
I was gonna say if I stop right there, you're done. Um, I think you can see these. Um, so this is Henry Knighton, 2025, another St. Chris guy. Um, and that was like a Junior Future Trials Rising Stars workout. This is at Junior Future Games, and then this is at Pro Case. So I think the first video, don't misquote me. I think the first video, this one right here, is 2020. I think this was right before like the shutdown of COVID. Um, and then this one is at Junior Future Games in 2021. So you can already see like a physical, some physical maturation there. And then you look now, like look how the intent is picked up. Look how the arm speed has gotten better. And again, like this is a, for me, and just being honest, like this is a shout out to Henry and a shot at us, right? Because everything was light early on, right? Like it wasn't some tooled up player. It was a right-handed arm. You didn't know whether he was going to be a positional guy or an arm. The velo was light. He was always kind of like usually a 78 to 82, maybe touching 83 guy. I mean, even up to probably like, again, we talked about with Goach like 18 months ago. And just an enormous credit to him. He started at 80, slid to in about a year and a half, slid to 147 because of that velo just kind of just plateauing, just not going anywhere, and was kind of the same guy. The body cleaned up. He started moving better and faster on the mound, which in turn picked up some velocity. He's always been able to pitch a little bit. He just didn't necessarily have the stuff to go with his ability to pitch. And that's gotten better. And now he sits in the mid 50s, which where he has sat for the past two updates. Jordan, anything to add on Henry?
Yeah, especially like I didn't see him in 2020, obviously, but especially as what I've seen him when I first started. He's always been able to get out pitches. Like you kind of knew what you were going to get out of him. I was just waiting for that velo to take off, and it's definitely taken off. He had a phenomenal showing at 17U National this summer. So just shout out to him for sticking to what he knows, getting his craft, and just working hard.
All right, another layup here. I am locked in that you're not going to get the one after this, but this one you.
Mr. Smyers, Luke Smyers.
Very good. Now, I'm going to preface this, and I'm going to show the rest of the video, but I'm going to preface this conversation with this right here. And I can kind of laugh about it now. I feel like Luke might laugh about it too. This was not Luke's best day. He was pretty good here. He was pretty good at Junior Future Games. And he was solid at Future Games. And I thought he was really good at the Pro Case this summer. But when I tell you Luke had a rough day at this like junior event, yeah, that may be one of the understatements of a lifetime. He rode the struggle bus a little bit that day. And I think that some of these players just like haven't been in an environment with a bunch of people standing around with cameras and radar guns and a bunch of people standing around and 30, 40, 50, 60 other kids. Like that was a pretty decent sized event at Rocket that day. I think it might have been in the 70 or 80 range. And like, I don't know if he was necessarily like mentally prepared for that day. I got a phone call from one of his like coaches and inner organization people before that. And I was like, hey, look, this kid's coming. He is the real deal. He was in 8th grade at the time. We're already talking to this school and that school and this school, and everything was just kind of wide open and, kind of the Wild West in terms of being able to recruit guys early. We're talking to this school, that school, and the other school. I left that day and called him and was like, I'm not sure we're talking about the same guy. It was a tough day at the plate. It was a tough day on the mound. But I said, you know what? Like, there's something there. Like, it's a low slot lefty. He was probably 6', 6'1" at the time, and was like, "Hey, let's give a kid a chance." He came to Junior Future games and was extremely good. If I remember correctly, like Michigan and a few other schools. I shouldn't say Michigan. There's a few Power Four schools sitting on that game. I think they have a different staff now. I know they have a different staff, so it's okay. But there were a few Power Four schools sitting on that game, and he was super impressive. Um, and he was facing some pretty high level hitters. I want to say from like, I think it was Indiana, or it might have been Michigan since they were at the game, supposedly. Um, but he just had an outstanding Junior Future Games, and then ended up being a Future Games guy, pro case, Alabama commit, and has just continued to develop. And there's been some ups and downs in outings and stuff. But when he's on, he can be pretty good. Jordan?
Yeah. Just the frame, like we talked about earlier, just the projection part. You look at him at that young age, okay, maybe there's something there. And over time, he's continued to add strength. Velos continue to go up for him. So just the maturation part of the projection piece for this junior class played a big part, especially with Luke.
Yeah. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, this is a guy that has stayed within the top 10 for 3 years. So he entered at number 10 December of 21, stayed at 7 for like 7 months, up to 5, back down to 7 for another 6, 7 months, and then has been 6, 5, and 6 the last 3 updates. So shout out to our staff for being able to evaluate. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent. A 6'3", 6'4" lefty who can pitch and who has shown upside and the ability to get swings and misses and compete in the zone with 3 pitches. You don't have a ton of them in high school. So that is Luke Smyers, Alabama commit. Now here's my last ditch effort. I got you on one, but that was kind of a backdoor effort there because I showed positional for an arm. But we're going to see what we got here. And there's a look. I didn't notice it earlier, but there's a hint in here, not with anything like that he's wearing or anything like that, but there's a little hint in here. There you see me back there with the mask on.
This is going to kick me because I know this.
All right, I'm going to give you one last time. We're going to continue to roll the video. I'm going to give you one last time. I want you to watch how the hands.
Oh, no. Done. Jake Wise. We're good. It took me a second. I said, I know this wind up. It just wasn't as fast paced as it is now because the intent obviously is picked up. That's Jake Wise. Done. We're good.
So anybody, if we still have anybody watching that we're 39 minutes in to a podcast about 2028, so we're talking about 2025s. If you watch the hands there in the delivery, you'll see some similarities.
Definitely.
From here.
A little bit quicker now.
Yeah, a little bit quicker, a little bit more intent in what he does. And this is one where I wanted to point out again somebody's development. Jake went unranked for 4 updates and was not ranked until May of 2023. Here's some reasons. When we saw Jake in that video that we just showed, I think that was 2021. When we showed Jake there, he was, a smaller, thinner, slower moving right-hander that was 73 to 74 in that video. Okay. He wasn't 6'2". You look at Smyers, they were at the same event, right? That was the exact same event. You had a 6', 6'1" lefty, who I don't know what the velo was that day, but it was better. to, I don't know, just going to go out on a limb and say a 5'6" righty that was 73, 74 and move with a slower pace and less intent and less arm speed. So like that's a tough one to jump on board with. That's a tough one to see, hey, this kid's going to be a Virginia Tech commit and an ACC potential arm. Shout out to him. Huge improvements in the pitchability. I think that's a credit. Like when you don't have the stuff, you got to learn how to pitch to get outs. Right. When you're 73, 74 at, 14 years old, 13 years old, like, and you're going to 60 feet, you got to figure out how to get people out, or you may not pitch too much. And that's the one thing that Jake does, and it has allowed his stuff to catch up. One of the best changeups in the state, right? Hey, you know a way to get somebody off of your 73, 74 mile an hour fastball? Throw a really quality changeup at 13 years old versus 13-year-old hitters. Sometimes the breaking ball, if you're throwing 73, sometimes that breaking ball is going to be like 58. 60. So guess what the hitters are going to do? They're going to see it. They got a little time to see the 58, 60 mile an hour curveball. So what can get them out of, what can get them off the fastball? The changeup. And now, look, got one of, if not the best changeup in the state. So I think that's just a huge credit to him. And I'm not giving you that one because I had to tell you how to watch how the hands operate. So
that was one of the first things I was thinking about, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You lost on two of them.
It's all good. All good.
You lost one legitimately, and then the other one, like you lost 1.5.
Yeah.
Jordan don't like losing. He looks angry.
I really don't. It's all right.
All right. We are 42 minutes in. We are diving into 2028s. If there's anybody left watching that is interested in 2028s, here is the time. Okay. What your then and now video looks like in 4 years, if I'm still alive and doing this, will depend on how much work you put in, right? You, at the end of the day, you are the person who controls your successes and failures for the most part. So put the work in so we can highlight you in 4 years. But we're going to start off with the 2028 class with a video that has audio. I would not turn your volume up too loud. Jordan already knows. I can see the smile on his face. We're going to start off with a video that has audio. Do not turn up your speakers too loud. Side note, that umpire there at the end threw me out a few years ago. We aren't friends. But that is Elijah Archer. Elijah comes into the 2028 class. His initial ranking is number 8 overall. And that is a small sample of why. Shout out to Trey. You look at like, we haven't seen these guys a ton. We've seen a few games here and there, a few at-bats, junior state games, whatever. Nobody like hits a bunch of bolts at junior future games. Very, very rarely. You see Trey come out of the first base box and almost tackle him in the first one. One, because what did he hit at, like 106.5 or something like that, Jordan?
Maybe it was 104.
I'm sorry, 104.8.
Yeah, 104.8.
104.8. It should have been 106.5. 104.8, and you notice Elijah. Notice how hard he gets out of the box because the ball was about 6 feet off of the ground and essentially tore the fence down. 105 miles an hour off the bat for, let's see here, for a young man who just turned 15. So he is a true 2028. He is 5'10", 211 pounds of solid, large human being. Um, the second one that he hit, um, if you notice Trey's just like, yep, way to go. Good job. That was 98 out of right center at 360 feet. He had also basically tore the storage building down at Lake Point, like either a few pitches before or an at bat before, where he annihilated one foul down the right field line. And then again, it was either a few pitches later and at bat later, took one out of right center at 98. As impressive as the power is, the bat to ball, barrel control, and hit tool may be equally as impressive. It's tough to say that it is equally impressive as the power, but like it's I know going out on a limb, but I feel pretty safe on that limb. Jordan?
Yeah. Just shows a mature approach, especially in confidence in a two-strike approach. Will widen out, hit the ball the other way, and he's comfortable doing it. Then he'll just turn the barrel and annihilate the baseball pull side. I really like his adjustability at the plate, spread to all fields and just annihilate baseballs to the pull side. I think that's very exciting and good to see for a 28.
For sure. Now, getting to the ranking side, like, hey, like if this kid is this, how's he number 8? Right? There's 7 guys better than that guy. He's pretty. I don't want to say he's pretty physically mature, but he's pretty filled out physically. So, like, how much stronger is he going to be? If he continues to get stronger and doesn't grow up a ton, is that going to kind of constrict some things athletically? Okay. Where he's listed as a first baseman, is he going to be athletic enough, as he continues to develop? Is he going to be athletic enough to play left field? Is he going to have arm enough to play right field? How will he be as a defender at first base? There's no doubt that the offense is there. If we're talking about Elijah Archer as a left-handed hitter, if he was playing shortstop or ran, right now a 7, I don't know, like a 7.1 60 right now, and the potential for him long term to run like a 6'7", 6'8", 60, because most guys are going to get 2, 3, 4 tenths, maybe better, as they continue to mature. If we're talking about that kid being a 6'7" runner hitting from the left side with that power and that hit tool, there's not 7 players in the 28 class in the state, and I would go to bat and argue that there wouldn't be 7 players in the country.
Yeah,
this is elite power for a young man of this age. There is hit tool. One of the coaches for the other junior future games teams. You remember what he said? He was like, this kid's like Tony Gwynn. And while that may be aggressive, I hope that I can say I watched a Hall of Famer at 14 years old. While this was happening, you think about that. Kid was 14 and 5 months, 14 and 6 months, and just absolutely nuking baseballs. But to that coach's credit, like, he's seen 3 at-bats out of this kid, and he's seen him go 2 strikes and go down with a pitch and line a ball back through the middle or hit a hard ground ball back through the middle. He's seen one hit to the moon foul off of the storage facility, and he's seen a 98-mile-an-hour ball hit out of right center versus quality arms for this age. He's able to handle good arms. He's able to hit in different counts. He shows barrel control, and he shows present power, not future potential power. Like, this is legitimate power now.
Yeah.
But where does it go? Right? Where is the position mark? So I just wanted to highlight Elijah just because, like, he's one of the guys that like gets you most excited for what could be in 3 years. Um, moving on to the next one, we talk about guys that get you excited in the next 3 years. Jordan's trying not to smile because he knows how fired up I am about this one. So I'm going to let Jordan. I'm going to let Jordan talk about it first.
Yeah, Tyler Caperton. There's some switch in the hands, some twitch in the hands, switch hitter, middle infielder, high motor, and just a little bit of do it all at the top of the lineup. And it's especially exciting to look forward to what he can be in the future with the present skills that he has right now, for sure.
Now, we didn't get a chance to see a ton of Tyler. I have watched probably entirely too much video on Tyler. Um, man, him and the one behind him, the two Tylers, Caperton and Jackson. But I'm an infield snob. Those two, like, locked in, dialed in for those two for their future. Caperton is an above average runner for his age. The hands really work. The arm strength is fine. At shortstop, it's not elite. It's not below average. I would say average, slightly above. Um, and he's a switch hitter. And while he has shown the video that I've seen, while he has shown a functioning like good swing from both sides of the plate, honestly, like I really like the swing from the left side, but I think it's really good that he's getting swings from both sides of the plate. Now, I did get some background. That was a right on right, and I asked about it. I was like, hey, like, if these kids are going to do this, they need to do it right, right? Like, they need to do it the correct way. It needs to be right on left, left on right. And the information that I got is he had a little, maybe a small lingering injury. He plays football. I think he was a wide receiver, Eastern View as a freshman, and he had a little injury that forced him basically to hit from the right side instead of the left. So if he's gonna, just like any switch hitter, if you're gonna switch hit, like do it the right way. Don't like, hey, I'm struggling from the left side. I'm just gonna hit off everybody from the right side for a couple weeks. Stay locked in on the process. But this one absolutely fires me up. I might drive to Eastern View tonight and like set a tent up and just wait it out through the winter. In first practice, I will be watching Tyler Caperton at Eastern View, just like from the distance with binoculars. But no, just fired up, switch hitter, athletic, dual sport guy. I think there's a lot to like there. Next one, Jordan.
Yeah, that's Colton Smith from Battlefield, two-way guy, and just with him, it's just a guy that tools really don't flash, but the guy plays. Had a big hit here at JFG, a walk-off hit to advance him to the championship game, but on the mound as well. He just hops on the mound, and he's one of those guys that you know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to attack the zone, throw strikes, mix pitches, and next thing you know, hey, you're up late in the game, you might have a W. But he's just one of those guys that tools don't really flash anything crazy, but he's one of those guys that's going to compete and he's going to show up, and you kind of know what you're going to get out of him each day.
Yeah, and we talked about the difference in between hey, like a big projection guy that maybe the tools don't necessarily show up consistently in game. Like they may be ranked a little bit higher now than a guy like Colton, just because like Jordan said, it's not a super flashy, like tooled up profile. Extremely young. He's 14-6. He probably would be a true 29. If he was in a 29 class, he wouldn't be like a reclass guy necessarily. I played with guys. This was, I played with guys who would be 15-6 right now, as a freshman who weren't reclass. We weren't doing. This was before reclass was cool. But Colton would be kind of a true 29. I think the biggest thing is like it's a higher floor guy for me right now, higher floor, potentially low ceiling until those tools take a jump. How many times did we put Colton into a game in like a tough situation on the mound, and my man, like they may as well have cleared the bases and just went back to the dugout and saved everybody the time.
Yeah.
Um, like big time strike thrower, we started him game one, and dude, I swear I think he threw like 13 pitches in the first inning and threw like 12 strikes. Am I right? I mean, I'm not. If it's off, I'm not far off.
Yeah, like he was super efficient early. He was like, wow, is that his pitch count actually? Because it was just quick and efficient, and you just look up and go, oh, well, all right.
I think we threw, and everybody's gonna say, oh, you threw him 3 times in a tournament. We threw him like 2 innings was like 20 pitches the first day, and then he had a day off, and then he came back and threw like 12 pitches, 1 inning, or it might have been like 2/3 of an inning, and then he came back the following day and threw again like 10, 12, 14 pitches in 1 inning. And every single time, well, those 2 relief appearances like got us out of situations and jams, and wanted that, like was comfortable with that. Like Dad's a high school coach; he's the high school coach at Woodbridge High School, and I talked to him, and I was like, "Hey, like, is he good with these situations? Like, how does he feel?" And he was like, "Oh no, he loves it." So I was like, "All right, well, next one we get into, he's in." But I mean, he threw, like, oh, he threw 3 different times. Yeah, he threw 3 different times, and he threw like 40 pitches. So don't come at me for throwing somebody 40 pitches when some of y'all's coaches roll you out there 40 pitches twice a day, 3 straight days. So don't come at us for that. We don't burn kids up over here. All right, Jordan, we're moving on to the next one. What you
Yeah,
got here?
Cameron Fazell. He was a JFG guy this summer. He had a solid showing down there, and he's just a guy that does a little bit of everything. He catches, can play the infield, also hops on the mound, but offensively, it's a short swing, and he uses the whole thing with some sneaky pop. Like here, this one was off the left field wall, but he had
Get
quite
out
a
of the
few extra
box.
base.
Get out of the box.
He had a few extra base hits against some quality competition. And on the mound, he's been up to 80, attacks his zone, gets strikes, gets outs. And I just think he has ability to stick in the infield long term, but just a solid all around player that just has feel for the barrel and the hit.
Get out of the box. No, for sure. Like very versatile guy. He's a 7.3 runner right now. I think we can easily say, like, I feel comfortable saying this guy's going to end up being like a 6'9" runner, maybe a tick better. Average arm across the infield. He can defend a little bit. Like if I had to say, like long term, I'd probably say a little bit more second. Um, but short's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. Like you said, more hit tool, flashes a little bit of juice. 79, 80, 81 on the mound, pitches, throws strikes, works well behind the plate. Like he just kind of does it all, checks a lot of boxes. Um, and honestly, like this class, we talked about it before. The 27s are too, but this class is loaded with Southwest talent. Um, and Cameron is another Southwest guy from Glenvar High School. So yeah, just excited to we got to find a way to get all of those young Southwest players together at an event or a tournament or something like that. And see all those guys because the talent level has, in my opinion, has definitely gone up down in Southwest Virginia. We're going to stay in that same note, and we're going to change over to another Southwest Virginia guy. We're going to go to Wise Central High School to Ethan Foster. Jordan?
Yeah, Foster's another JFG guy, and just one of the things that stood out immediately. I think he was at top prospect games over the summer, but he showed the ability to hit as well, and he took that down to JFG. Um, Doubles power right now, but line drive tendencies, uses the whole field. But he's just a competitor in the box. He loves to hit. No matter the quality competition, he's going to get after it. So I definitely think it's going to be a guy out west that definitely need to get eyes on this spring.
Yeah. Shout out to Bush League right fielder who was getting ready to throw it to first base. Not cool. No, I remember distinctly being in the cage throwing BP to these guys, and I came out, and I don't know if it was you or somebody I was talking to. When we have future games in JFG going on, and we got senior games going on, and a lot of these kids you're kind of meeting for like really, really meeting for the first time and seeing them for the second time. I got out of the cage. And again, sometimes we're over there at future games and we don't get to stay around for some of the JFG, like myself or Jerry or whatever, don't get to stay around as much for the JFG. I came out of the cage and I was like, man, who's the left-handed hitter there? And I forget whether it was you or who it was. They're like, oh, that's Foster. And I was like, probably one of the best barrels like on the team. And I know it's BP, but you watch guys in BP, and if we're talking about overhand throwing, you got all the guys now that are like, oh, that's a little too hard. Oh, he's jamming me. Oh, he's doing this. Like, my man didn't say nothing. He just got in the cage and just barrel after barrel after barrel. And so he shows the ability to hit. I think right here in the video, it's like one of the first swings he was a little bit out in front of, but you can see a little bit of lag in those hands, and he was able to keep it back just long enough, and it still got off clean. So I think that's the biggest thing. Some of the tools and athleticism need to continue to improve in order for him to play like a left side infield position. There's arm strength there. He can jump on the mound. He can do a little bit up there as well. But I think I'm buying the bat here. Good hand speed for a freshman, rotates extremely well, and has some bat speed. I'm buying the offense and hoping the athleticism continues to get better, so that we can move him around a little bit positionally long term.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Jordan.
My man, Tony Smith. We've seen him for a while, for a couple of years now, and that's because as a 28, he was playing up with 27s. So he got a little more ahead of the learning curve, playing up, getting just to the feel, things like that. But one thing that hasn't changed is his competitiveness and ability to find a barrel. The kid just has a knack to hit. I really like the swing path. He uses the whole field. He can hit in different counts. He catches, can play a little bit of the infield, third base. But no matter what position he plays, the kid can hit and find a way to put up some production in the lineup.
I can't wait for the person to comment and say, "Oh, he was out of the box. He's out." Don't let him square you up for a double there. No, he's like compact. He's got strength. And biggest thing of all, like, I haven't seen him a ton. Jordan has seen him far more. I've seen some video. The biggest thing is the swing works. It syncs up. He's on time. He delivers the barrel. And if I remember correctly, Dad's a pretty good sized human being.
Yeah.
So I think there's a chance where he's going to grow a little bit. I believe if I remember correctly, and maybe you touched on it, but I didn't hear it. He's a JV running back at St. Chris. So there's some two sport there. There's some athleticism. I think he'll continue to get better with the run. And again, just kind of buying the offense and letting him continue to figure it out, like where he's going to fit in long-term defensively. So that's my take. Jordan, do you have anything to close up on here as we are an hour and 4 minutes into a podcast where we talked about 6 2028s?
I'm excited as this class will continue to grow. See some guys at preseason events, high school season as well. So as we continue to go on, class can continue to grow and evaluate and get out to see these guys.
Absolutely. I can't say for sure. Mike gets me on that one. But no, definitely excited to get a chance to see some of these freshmen. I think we have freshman exclusive, those two events that are kind of freshman exclusive events outside of a handful of 29s. I think we have like over 40 freshmen. That's not including any preseason All-States. So it's going to be good to potentially get a chance to see 60, 70, 80 plus freshmen this winter, and then be able to kind of start, building on the evaluations and the write-ups and things like that we have on those guys and watching them continue to mature. So, Jordan, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to wrap this up with I forgot about it. We're going to go give me one. Let's see. Give me your favorite Christmas gift that you have ever gotten and something that you're hoping to get this year.
Ooh, favorite Christmas gift. You gotta think. Oh, I know this one. I got a LeBron James jersey for Christmas when I was. Come on now.
We're not promoting that garbage on the show.
Yes, we are.
No, we are not. Jordan is being muted. Jordan is being muted.
No.
Of that blasphemy of LeBron.
No blasphemy. I got a LeBron James. This is back in the day. LeBron James Cleveland jersey and remember those fat heads back in the day? I had LeBron James.
You got a bald head. You got a bald head.
Stop it. This was like in 2009. He had hair then.
Jordan getting mad now. What a terror. You had I got like a Pez dispenser, and that was a better gift than a LeBron James jersey.
No, stop it. Oh, stop it.
Man, this is craziness. Never again will we do pop-up things. No,
it's okay. I'm sure a lot of other people like LeBron James gifts like I do.
Yeah. I'll be quiet. That's the best gift ever. Literally.
Yes, LeBron's the greatest.
Oh my God. I hope you get canceled on Twitter. You get canceled. I'm here for the culture cancel people to come get Jordan.
Yeah, come find me.
We'll keep it. We're not going any deeper than that. All right, what do you got? What do you got this year? Are you hoping for some Metamucil so you can ship it to LeBron, or what we got?
I don't even know. I'm at the point now where I don't want anything, so anything that just surprises me. I don't have that, or something that I just need. I don't know. I don't have anything I really ask for. I'm a tough ass when people ask me what I want for Christmas. I'm tough to get you an answer on that one. So I don't have one.
My wife gets so mad at me for many things, but specifically whether it's birthday or Christmas or whatever, people ask what I want and I say nothing. That's partially a lie. This Christmas, I want for her to stop spending buying presents. So I do want that for Christmas. I have a feeling that gift is not going to be that wish, and that gift is not going to be granted until after Christmas.
Yeah,
but also when people give me a gift, I'm just going back to the Thanksgiving podcast, every day's the same, just kind of even keeled, straight laced guy. Somebody gives me a gift, anybody who owns a Chevrolet dealership out there, if you want to show up with a Tahoe, I'll get pretty jacked about that. But outside of that, you get me a gift, I'll be oh, thanks. And my wife's just seriously, that's your reaction? I'm what? It's just I'm not trying to be rude. That's just I don't get pumped up about that stuff. I don't know why. It's just I am. Now you tell me I'm going to watch you give me a Christmas present and you're hey, Tyler Caperton's starting in shortstop opening day. Let's go. Or Caperton's coming to freshman event in the winter. Here we are. But No, so that's all for the 2028 rankings Christmas edition terrible gift ideas by Jordan Jones.
Oh my God.
Until the new year, this is our last podcast for High and Tight until the new year. Appreciate everybody joining us. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all of that good stuff, and we hope